You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special Tuesday night edition of the SmackDown RunDown here on the Angry Marks Podcast Network. Why are we bringing it to you Tuesday? Well, because SmackDown was live. And before we get to that, let me bring you my co-host, the one and only King J.
The king has arrived.
That's right. We had a live SmackDown earlier tonight, which means we have to bring you the SmackDown Rundown tonight. And now I'm going to stress, this is AngryMarks.com. We had a very good episode of Ring the Bell earlier, which raised a lot of ire in some people. Made some really, really poignant comments. They read some emails from a listener. And it got the chat room on fire, and it's still going on. As let me introduce everybody in the chat. We have myself and King J are in there, along with our producer Killer Kev, Sierra, Dagdog, Mr. Custer, Seth Draken, and the one and only boss Stevie J. Shout out to everybody out there, and shout out to everybody listening live or on the download, courtesy of Angry Marks and iTunes. So, like I said, the chat room was on fire. My whole brain is on fire. And the only way to put out a flame is to really get it out and speak my mind. But before I do, let me ask you, King J, how do you feel about tonight's episode of SmackDown?
I could have just took my ass to sleep. Because that was not worth sitting there for 2 fucking hours to watch that bullshit. I mean, I see the bright side to it. It was fun and jokey, but at the same time, SmackDown is the bastard child of the WWE, so doing the ha-ha jokey joke bullshit makes no fucking sense.
I, for one, hated the show. I strictly did not like tonight's SmackDown. It was pure shit.
So about to fall asleep, for God's sake. That's bullshit.
Blast from the past, yeah, it has its purpose. It's nice to see the legends, but it served no purpose. We didn't see any promotion for Legends House, which WWE Network has been promoting and possibly the first show on that network, or no other network has picked it up, but there was no mention of it, so it was looked on as, why are all these legends here? Don't get me wrong, these legends are some of the greatest in the business, but it really had no place on SmackDown whatsoever tonight.
The Angry Marks cricket is angrier.
Alrighty then. It's just, I don't know. I could see them bringing in some of those people as managers, but at the same time, if you're not going to plug their fucking show, don't bring their old asses out of the fucking retirement home. And I like the vast majority of the legends that were on SmackDown, but it served no fucking purpose.
Like you said, if they were brought as managers, yeah, it was fine. We saw Jimmy Hart brought in as that, but we'll get into that later on. But, I mean, this episode, I mean, I've loved SmackDown. I've always thought it was better than Raw. It's usually had some good storylines. And we saw Monday Night Raw last night where Brock Lesnar and John Cena had a huge pull-apart brawl to start the show. And that was on fire. That was crazy. I mean, I loved that part. That got everybody talking, and the fact of Brock Lesnar being back, and also for SmackDown, Sheamus is the new world champion. Daniel Bryan finally got his new T-shirt. Yes, T-shirt that he wore tonight on SmackDown. I mean, WWE has been going in a good direction so far, and no pun intended, but this episode of SmackDown really brought it back 10 steps. It did nothing to go forward, only a little bit, but it just went nowhere.
It was kind of like one of those, you know how TV shows, they have like a continuing storyline and then it has like that one standalone episode? That's what this felt like. Like, there's no, like, they might as well have skipped this week and just did last week and then next week, because this week was kind of like thrown, it seemed like it was thrown together at the last minute to me.
You know, you said last week, that's what this episode wasn't. That's what this episode was more like. We saw about, I don't know, maybe 7-8 times, saw clips from last week, and 4 out of those times was the same clip of Daniel Bryan and AJ. Yeah, we get it. Just show it once and let's move on. I mean, this whole Legends thing really annoyed me. You know, the only way I could really explain it, well, just to go through it and get why I just really, I'm so mad right now, especially from
I can
earlier
tell.
and tonight's SmackDown. It just, ooh,
I'm pissed now.
All right, we saw first man was Mean Gene Okerlund, and all the respect in the world for Mean Gene. He's always great. He was great as backstage announcer back in the old WWF and World Wrestling Federation and all that, back in the 80s. And he introduced Sheamus, who came out and apologized to the referee, Chad Patton, who he kicked last week, and apologized to all the other officials and to the rest of the world. And then we get...
Here is a man that has not only turned it around 180 degrees, but he's gone another 360 and then another 180.
Right. Okay. Then we get Johnny Ace, Johnny's stupid-ass whispering laryngitis, come out and tells Sheamus to apologize to the ref for kicking him last week. Stupid. Sheamus just did that. And even Sheamus pointed it out. He said, I just did. And Johnny's, well, I didn't hear it. So Sheamus apologizes to him. I want you to apologize to the other officials. I already did. Well, I didn't hear that either. Motherfucker, weren't you watching on a monitor backstage?
I have a fucking question. Since he took over, why is he yelling at everyone like they're his bastard stepchildren? Like, someone just really needs to reach out and touch his ass. Because last night he was yelling at Teddy Long like he was a fucking slave. Now tonight he yelling at Sheamus. Who you gonna yell at next week, Oksana? And deport her ass?
I don't know. Is that Johnny Ace's new GM gimmick, is to find someone to yell at?
I'm gonna sit the fuck down.
Seriously, he's going to get popped in the mouth one of these days, and that's where it's going. You could already tell. If not CM Punk, someone else.
Okay. I know that she on leave right now, but this is when I need Kia to come and backfist a bitch. And yes, I just called Johnny Ace a bitch.
He is a bitch. But he tells Sheamus to apologize to the other refs. Sheamus does. And then he tells Sheamus to apologize to everybody all over the world. Sheamus does it again. And then Laryngitis says, that's not good enough. You're on probation. If you put your hands on another official, you'll be fired and fined the biggest fine in WWE history, $500,000 or whatever the hell the number was. I mean, this guy just literally came out to yell at Sheamus. Okay, I get it. He's a heel. He's the heel GM. That's the point. I understand. The part where he really drove it in that he's a heel and wants someone to yell at, he makes a tag team match of Del Rio and Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus and Mean Gene Okerlund. Really? Really? I legit thought he was going to say Hornswoggle at first.
Well, when I saw, like, when they were showing it, and I saw Gene, I was like, they're about to use that stupid bullshit. Oh yeah, SmackDown is on that simple shit. Why even tease that shit so that me and Gene can have a fucking heart attack?
I don't know, because maybe WWE got tired of trying to give Teddy Long a heart attack? I don't know.
WWE does some thing where they do the Fallout or some bullshit on the internet, and they had last night Teddy Long changing fucking trash bags for Johnny Ace. Like, he's doing shit like that, and it's showing that he's abusing his power, and I think him abusing his pseudo-real power is a whole thing, but I think they're going to overkill it too soon, in a way.
I don't know. They're definitely going to try and push everybody's buttons with him. I don't care. Laryngitis, he's still... I think he's still green on the mic, yet he still managed to piss people off, and that's his role. That's his job. And like Stevie J says in the chat room, good on Johnny for being the biggest douchebag he can be.
Oh, yeah.
It's exactly, because he does his job. He's doing well at being the bad guy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, definitely. And for someone who hasn't been on TV since the 80s, he's getting back in the motion of things and picking it back up, so he's going to mess up, because people who are on TV all day, every day, still mess up, so it's a part of being human, but he's doing his job to the best of his ability, and he's over with it, so can't fault him for that.
I personally think he'd do a better job on edited TV like SmackDown, because live, it just seems like he isn't really comfortable. If he was on, SmackDown or in a pre-taped backstage segment, I think he would really fluctuate, do better there instead of flubbing his lines live.
Yeah. Well, you remember when Vicky first started and she did that angle with Ray and Eddie, she was fucking horrible.
Yeah.
And because they had her on SmackDown, she got more comfortable and got better, so I just think it's going to take time.
True. Well, moving on from there, we saw Randy Orton warming up in the locker room, and his father, Cowboy Bob Orton, showed up backstage to wish him luck and tell him to be careful, because Randy Orton had a match with Mark Henry, who has been on a roll lately. He's had 2 WWE Championship matches for the past 2 weeks on Raw, and next week he gets another championship match, this time in a no disqualification stipulation. But that's next week's Raw. Tonight on SmackDown, Mark Henry and Randy Orton basically went back and forth. And it was kind of hard to really pay attention to this match, especially when you got Michael Cole and Booker T arguing on commentary back and forth about whether CM Punk got himself intentionally disqualified on Raw last night, which he did because he purposely picked up a monitor and hit Mark Henry with it. So I don't know what Booker was trying to counter-argue with.
I get what Booker was trying to say. He was trying to say that he just got frustrated or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but Booker was trying to say CM Punk didn't intentionally disqualify himself when he did. Even Josh Matthews was pointing it out to him.
Nick, it's Booker T. You know his ass ain't got fucking common sense. Trying to figure out his logic that goes through from dreadlock to dreadlock. You'll be there for the next 20 fucking years. But I have a question. What the fuck happened to Mark Henry after the little interruption? Because he just,
I don't know.
He, disappeared. And I'm like, wait, where the fuck is Mark? Because they show the ring, and it's like, did Mark get upset and nobody fucking noticed?
Yeah, and that was when Orton shoved Mark Henry to the ring post, went back in the ring, and the turnbuckle fire goes off to signify Kane, of course. But Kane shows Detron and tells Orton he needed to beat him at WrestleMania to be whole. But last week, Randy Orton beat him in a rematch. So obviously this storyline is not over because Kane took out Cowboy Bob Orton backstage. That was pretty awesome because Randy Orton sold it. He ran to the back and Randy found his father laying on the floor. So Kane attacked him with a steel pipe, laid him out, and says, "I'm a sucker for family reunions." I laughed. That was actually funny.
Kane is funny when he just comes out of nowhere and just says random shit.
Kane is funny when he's a monster and he just wants to beat people up for no reason.
I just like Kane in general. I mean, he just does shit and says, he's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna say something. And he doesn't even really have to say anything. He can just go out there and just wreck shit, and it's like, okay.
I like this new revamped Kane. I mean, it works for him. It's always been his character. It's always worked for him in this category. Just being the monster that he is really needs to... He revels in it. I think he loves playing this character.
It's so much better than him trying to be Mr. Happy-Go-Lucky, but still crazy.
Yeah, when he lost the mask, and this is what everybody says. I don't follow what everybody says. I've always liked Kane, no matter what, but when he lost the mask, when he first lost the mask, he was still the monster. But looking back at the past 2 years, he's been the docile monster. But when he went back to being evil, and when he was the World Heavyweight Champion, he went back to his deeper and darker soul of a character, and it's always worked for him. And now that he's got this new mask, I think it's even better.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he was docile for a minute, teaming up with the Big Show, and then he went crazy again, then his ass disappeared and reappeared, and he was happy again. I don't get the happy face of Kane. It never makes sense to me. Because he's like, okay, I don't like people, but... Go ahead.
No, finish. Go ahead.
Like, he goes through these phases where he's like, okay, I don't like people, but I'm gonna work with you and wreck shit, but not wreck shit. So I don't know.
The only happy face I've get to see is when he's laughing sadistically.
Yeah.
So, after that happened, we go backstage, and all of a sudden, Tony Atlas and Ted DiBiase Sr. are watching a monitor backstage. Pat Patterson and Hillbilly Jim join them because it's time for Ryback. Now, he had a squash match last week against a jobber who somehow got mic time. And you had people from NXT and superstars laughing at the jobber. This week it was the Legends. And this guy says, this is my first time on SmackDown. And that's all he really gets to say, which I still don't understand why the jobber needs a microphone, but whatever. This is the new gimmick with Ryback. Huh.
I'm confused. Okay, one, why are people watching the jobber get his ass kicked and giving a fuck? Two, why the fuck is the jobber talking? Jobbers aren't supposed to talk. They're supposed to wave at the crowd and then get their ass kicked. 3, Ryback, why are you swinging your arms like you're having a fucking seizure or some shit? Those are the 3 things I gathered from Ryback's segment. Next segment.
Now, this wasn't even a match. It was literally a squash match. All it was Ryback hit a big clothesline and then his finisher. That's it.
Yeah, I've heard. I don't know. I mean, he's over, I guess, in a way, with people in the back. People in the crowd are still kind of like, okay, it's Skip Sheffield. He's just going by a different name. Those who remember him.
Right. It's still a little too early for me to come up with any conclusion on how I feel about him. He's doing his job. He's squash matches. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And all this really did was have all the Legends laugh at him and Tony Atlas doing his silly, goofy laugh that he used to do on the Abraham Washington show.
You had to bring that up. I said move on so we didn't have to talk about Tony Atlas's goofy ass.
Of course I brought it up just so Kev can play that drop.
Kev, no. No, Tony Atlas. Do that shit, don't ring the bell. Don't mention Tony Atlas on this show.
Well, he was on SmackDown, so it did have to get brought up. I'm sorry, it had to be done. Now that that's over with, speaking of another legend, because this night was full of them, while Heath Slater was trying to convince Tyson Kidd to be his new partner, Slater brings in the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. I don't mind Jimmy that much, but the match that Slater and Kidd had against the Usos, Jimmy was loud on the megaphone. I really could not focus on the match. Not only that, Mick Foley was on commentary, and they couldn't even get a word in because Jimmy kept running to them and shouting in their ear. I literally forgot that the match was going on.
I like Jimmy Hart. But can someone tase his ass? Because he just kept running back and forth and they kept panning the camera to him going and talking to Mick Foley. I'm like, okay, someone need to choke his ass because this shit's getting annoying real quick.
Can somebody else just to tell his ass to keep on dancing somewhere else?
Something, shit. But going back to where Heath Slater was trying to get Tyson to be his partner, Tyson had a look on his face like, I'd rather be with fucking Teddy Hart and Smith Hart and just deal with their crazy asses than deal with this bullshit.
I don't know. Well, the Usos got the win in a pretty fair and okay match. Tyson Kidd just, he had the look of like, why am I here? I miss Justin Gabriel.
He's like, I'm just happy I'm on SmackDown for once, but I'd rather deal with Teddy and Smith Hart than deal with these two ass clowns.
Oh my god. Well, the Usos. I'm just so flustered. I don't know why, but the Usos got the win, left the ring, and then Mick Foley gets off commentary and puts the socko on Jimmy Hart. He gets on the megaphone and says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. It was a mistake," and the crowd was dead. No response.
They were dead.
Am I the only one who noticed that? Because they seem to have no interest.
They had no interest whatsoever in SmackDown as a whole. But then Mick Foley does Mr. Socko and then throws the fucking sock in the crowd. Don't nobody want that dirty ass sock, Mick. That's just trifling. And then he gets on the megaphone and starts saying random shit. It's like, no. Just cut. Just wrap it up, pack it up. We ain't even acknowledging this shit, is what the crowd was saying, pretty much.
Am I the only one, or were you waiting for? Was anybody else waiting for a Dean Ambrose cameo to show up and get in Mick Foley's face? That would have been the only thing to make this better.
I just wanted him to pop up and just start beating the shit out of Mick Foley. That would have made my night.
They've been going back and forth since WrestleMania weekend when Ambrose got in Mick Foley's face, calling him a disgrace. And they've been going back and forth on Twitter. And yeah, I know Twitter, bullshit, blah, 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 all that other stuff. But they're really doing this. They're really pushing the Twitter stuff and social media. It's not bad. I mean, it gets people over. I mean, that's how Yoshitatsu got a match on Raw last night. From Twitter.
Yeah. I mean, it has its good devices, but at the same time, don't overkill it. Like WWE has been doing in the past. Like, use it to push feuds that you don't get to see all the time on TV, to explain the feuds that you put on TV. Use it in that way, and it'll help. Don't use it saying, oh, well, this is trending, or this is trending. I don't give a fuck what's trending on Twitter, because I don't fucking use it, and it has no impact on my life. Use it to build things, pretty much.
Right. I agree 100%, because every time they say this is trending, it is not. Every time they say it's the top trend worldwide, it's not. They don't have to lie.
And see, I can speak for myself and Sierra both. We could give a motherfucker less about what's trending on Twitter, because we don't know how shit trends on Twitter or whatever. All that shit, you know?
I know. Nobody really cares. Nobody really checks for it either.
They need to focus more on pushing the product than pushing irrelevant shit that's not going to be relevant a week from now, a year from now.
Well, speaking of Twitter and social media, the debuting Damien Sandow, which we mentioned last week, he had another on-screen promo with the standard black background. He gave a promo talking about social media and saying how, to be honest, I don't remember what the fuck this guy said. I really didn't pay attention when he was talking. All I remember was that he was mentioning social media, and he basically bashed the constant reminders of tweets, and it's his duty and destiny to bring equity, something like that, for years to come. You're welcome. I mean, I'm actually agreeing with what this guy says. Last week he talked about fake television shows, and this week it's we don't need to be having constant reminders of tweets. This guy is actually speaking the truth. A lot of people don't care about most of this stuff.
Yeah, real true. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Damien Sandow as a whole, but his character and the gimmick that he plays down at FCW and the one that they're bringing him up with is a good character, and I think it'd be interesting to see how it plays out on television.
Right, and Stevie J points it out in the chat room. It's annoying to say something is trending just to get it trending. That's what WWE is doing all the time. They actually have their everything on Twitter from WWE, whether it's WWE itself or WWE Universe, WWE Games, WWE.com, whatever. They put all this stuff out. Everybody else can talk about it. We don't need that. We don't care. We don't care what's number one worldwide. We don't care what's trending now. Point out Twitter when you're starting, continuing a feud.
Exactly. They overkilled it at the beginning, saying, "Oh my gosh, this is trending. This is trending. This is trending." No, what relevance does it really have? Yeah, people are talking about you guys, but let the people talking about you talk about you, because it's not like you're posting the people who are tweeting or twatting or whatever the fuck on TV, like having it scroll on the bottom of the TV or some shit like that.
If I can just jump in for a second, I just want to mention, you know what? It is annoying that they constantly do that, but the sad thing is, it works really fucking well. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. I mean,
how does it work?
It works. Obviously, it works. They bring it up on TV, it's trending, and 5 minutes later, it really is trending because people see it and they think, "Hey, I want to talk about it." So
yeah, but they don't need to lie about it.
You know what? Who cares if they're lying? They're accomplishing their goal. I can bet you there are so many programming directors out there now who see this shit happening and they just wish that their shit was live so that they could do it too. I mean, seriously,
Maybe.
Look. Did you not see?
I can see that.
Did you not see the news from that came out of WrestleMania weekend? WWE was like 5 or 7 of the top 9 trending topics WrestleMania weekend because they drove that shit and people ate it up.
Well, that's also just heavy promotion on WWE's part, just for WrestleMania itself and for WrestleMania weekend. That has nothing to do with what's trending worldwide. They weren't talking about, oh, this is trending worldwide just because they're doing it. No, it's because they've had this constant reminder and promotion for WrestleMania. So that's no surprise that there are about top 5 trends.
Yeah, but that's all this is. It's marketing. It's a way to get out there. They are using social media for that. That's exactly what this is all about. This is marketing. This is getting their name out. This is getting their programming out. This is getting their topics out. It's getting people over. It's getting people talking about, and that's the end goal. Talk about WWE. Give more focus on WWE. Think about WWE. Eat it. Consume it. That's the whole point of it, and that's what people are doing. From a marketing standpoint, it's brilliant. It is just absolutely brilliant. The sad thing is, Angry Marks should do that more often.
I'll give you that. It's a great marketing ploy.
We need CR out there twittering and twattering as much as she can.
Yeah, and I'm gonna
That'll
borrow.
never happen.
I'm gonna borrow a line from Ring the Bell, and this is in no way to spark up any debate or dispute because there's been plenty of that earlier. They really do shove this whole Twitter thing down people's throats, but it is their marketing ploy, and I see why they're doing it. It's just that it just seems like they're forcing it on us with this is trending, that's trending worldwide, when it's actually not. So,
yeah.
With that said, I intentionally brought that up just to segue, but going back in time, because this is what WWE did tonight, on SmackDown, we had, in my opinion, the best segment of the entire show which was the Piper's Pit with Daniel Bryan. Roddy Piper can still hold a promo together and bring a point home.
Is it sad that this was the only part that had my whole undivided attention of all of SmackDown tonight?
No, because it had my undivided attention as well. It's not sad at all. Because at least it wasn't something where a legend can get over for himself. This was about Daniel Bryan and AJ. And for 3 times tonight, we saw the same clip of Daniel Bryan kicking AJ to the curb from last week. So tonight, we saw Roddy Piper tell Daniel Bryan about how it's wrong to treat a woman. It started off with calling him out to the ring. Daniel Bryan came out with his new Yes, Yes, Yes t-shirt. Roddy Piper actually brought that up. He says, your new t-shirt says yes, 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 but let me tell you some no's. You don't use a lady as a human shield. You don't tell a lady to shut up. And you don't protect your you don't yell at a lady as well. That's a no.
Yeah. I think Piper drove home some good facts, and it could resonate with a lot of different people in a lot of different ways, like if they have daughters or if they're in a relationship, that kind of thing. So I think that was a good thing to do, and Daniel so played up that obviously he did nothing wrong. So it could play out a bunch of different ways, but when he brought out AJ, I thought that was the interesting thing. I figured that he would, but I'm kind of disappointed in the way she played it out when she came out there, but at the same time, it makes sense.
Yeah, and it was said earlier in the Angry Marks chat room that AJ is playing the battered woman victim gimmick. And because Roddy Piper brought her out to the ring, and she says, "Oh, hi, Daniel." Piper says, "You're saying hi to him after what we just saw?" So then she tries to defend Daniel Bryan, saying, "I know he can come off like a jerk sometimes, but deep down he's a good person. No, it was my fault. I made a mistake at WrestleMania. I'm so sorry. If we could just talk, we can work it out." And Piper was incredulous. He couldn't believe it. He's saying, "Why are you defending him? You're a lady. You don't make it up to him. I've been watching you since your debut. Big Show mowed you down, and you got back up. It's not easy to be a lady and be here, but you're smart. All he's doing is using you." And this whole thing just played out well.
It did, and AJ's such a trooper, because she plays the role convincingly, she loves him, and she wants everything to work out and be perfect and all that stuff, and he's like, "I have you wrapped around my finger, so I'm just going to use you and abuse you till either A, you smarten up, or B, I get tired of you." So her role in the whole scheme of things is putting her over with the crowd. They're like, I feel sorry for her because she's so brainwashed into thinking that this guy is her end-all be-all, and she needs to break away from him to realize that she can do bad on her own, that she can be the badass, that she can do other things. So I think it's playing out so well.
Now, I'm not trying to say that this is a great angle, because it's not entirely, but the point of this angle is to show that this is relatable, I mean, this is society today. You have guys who are controlling over their women, and they abuse them, whether physically or just simply verbally. It's still abuse. And this gimmick, this storyline right here, shows AJ as one of those women who get abused, like I said, whether physically or verbally, and then defend their man, even after getting dumped. So the angle itself, it's playing out as normal society would. It's not the greatest in the world, but it's relatable.
Yeah. And it's with, I guess you could say, a typical couple. It's not like the all-American dream couple. It's like today's couple in today's society. So it'll resonate with so many people, and it could be a platform for them to eventually have, like, AJ being like, don't, eventually when she snaps out of it, don't be a victim. You can move forward. I know I'm thinking way beyond WWE's scope, but, like, she can speak to the young girls and be kind of like that household name, like, AJ's confident in herself, blah, 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 and she's trying to tell us that we can be smart, sexy, powerful, that whole spiel.
But one thing that was pointed out to me was this thing with Piper. He was telling AJ all these positive things about herself, saying, she's beautiful, she's smart, and telling her she doesn't need to go down this road. This was like couples counseling or even an intervention. I like the way this Piper's Pit played out just from that role.
Mm-hmm. And that could be a possibility that they do in the coming weeks, where they have people trying to break AJ out of seeing how bad Daniel is and how toxic he is to her, and eventually she realizes it. So I think this was a step in the right direction for that storyline to go.
Right. So Brian told AJ that if you love me, you would leave the ring, which she does. And then Piper tells him all this stuff. He says, I see the fact that Extreme Rules, the heavyweight champion of the world, is by the way, it was announced by Daniel Bryan that he will get his rematch against Sheamus for the World Heavyweight Championship in a 2 out of 3 falls match, which I'm liking because I like those kinds of matches. It's almost like a tournament in one match. But he says the bright side for me is I get to see him kick your head off your shoulders, not once but twice. But Bryan turns it back and says, Extreme Rules, the fact that I am better than Sheamus is going to slap him and you right across the face. And with that, Bryan does slap Rowdy Piper. That was a great way to end this segment, because he just goes back up the ramp. Yes! 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 He's playing his role very well.
Is this just slap people in the face week WWE style?
I was thinking of that earlier.
Because you had it on Raw with John Cena slapping Brock, and now he slapped Piper. So I'm assuming on NXT and Superstars this week, someone else is getting slapped at some point.
Now, let me bring up a comment or a question from the AngryMarks chat room. Sierra asked, if WWE was to try and turn Daniel Bryan face, wouldn't this gimmick and storyline of the battered woman hurt him in the future? Now, that's quite possible, but we've seen storylines in WWE where they really devalue a wrestler's status. And a year later, they're completely different. They'll either be from heel to face to heel, whatever. And a lot of people will just forget all about it. I mean, if you look at Sheamus, 1 year ago, he was the one bullying people. And now he's on the side of the Be a Star campaign saying, oh, you shouldn't bully people, blah, blah, blah. At least he mentioned it that he used to bully people. But before, when he first debuted on Raw, he gave Jerry the King Lawler a bro kick to the face. A year later, he was teaming with him in a match.
Yeah, but at the same time, I do remember Jerry bringing it up that at one point that he knows what the bro kick feels like because he's had it happen to him. So they kind of do mention things, but at the same time, I could see WWE like 2 or 3 years down the line not even bringing this whole feud up and the storyline up at all. But at the same time, I could see a heel being like, well, you're a woman abuser, blah, 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 trying to get at him or something. So I could see both sides of how this could go.
From there, we had a mixed tag match. 6-person intergender tag match. Well, not intergender because men and the women can't fight each other. But Drew McIntyre teamed with the Bella Twins, and after about 30 seconds, he tagged out and left, saying, I'm better than this. You're right,
Did
Drew.
you have to bring this match up?
I have to say this. Drew's right. He's better than this. I want to see him in better matches and better storylines. Because going against the Great Khali is kind of redundant now. And so the Bella Twins were in the match teaming or against Alicia Fox and Natalya, and this should quell anybody's questions in their head whether Natalya is a face or not, because she's teaming with Khali and Alicia Fox. I think it's safe to say she's a face now.
I got a couple of issues with this entire bullshit. Okay, I'm cool with the Bellas teaming with Drew. Like, that's all kosher. But Alicia Fox, Natalya Neidhart, and Tree. On what motherfucking planet does a fox, a heart, and a goddamn tree make fucking sense? Like, did they say, okay, they're two alphabet bitches out there with a fucking tree, and they have them motherfuckers? No, it makes no fucking sense. And I get that they have no real direction with the fucking Divas division and they need to cancel the bullshit ASAP. But don't... It just fucking frustrates me that people like Drew McIntyre or Natalya, who could be doing so many different things, aren't doing shit now. They're just going in random bullshit and it's like, okay, we need Divas on the show.
Alright, well, here's what I gotta bring up from this. Drew McIntyre leaves mid-match, which was probably 30 seconds in. Alicia Fox gets in and delivers a Northern Lights suplex for the 3 count. Natalya does not even get in the ring whatsoever. The other Bella tried to make the save, but was too late. And I don't blame the Bella Twins for leaving WWE at the end of the month. Because their contract is up, and they still have not made negotiations to renew their contract. And the Divas division is on a very, very large decline, which we have covered for weeks on end here on the entire network. And if you have checked out Sierra's article on AngryMarks.com, the Angry Marquee news feed, the news in women's wrestling, she posted a video of Lita from WWE Access, and Lita mentions that the Divas division is in a sad state right now. Now, we've heard that before on other interviews. Lita's just now saying it on Access, and the Bella Twins are quitting. Can WWE see any issue, or are they just going to stick us with Kelly continuously? Because with Natalya and Beth Phoenix and possibly Karma, if she even decides to return, they're all they really got left. Because I'm not counting Alicia Fox and Oksana and Kelly to carry the division. Eve doesn't even seem to be part of the division anymore. She's just her own person trying to use men. Pretty soon, WWE is going to be Ring of Honor, where there is no women's competition there. Because the only women I've seen in Ring of Honor are Maria Kanellis and Mia Yim, who are valets and managers in Ring of Honor. WWE is going to end up being in that way. I'd be fine too, because they're not doing shit with the Divas division. Beth Phoenix lost a non-title match on SmackDown last week. She lost at WrestleMania. She's the champion.
And we ain't seen her at all this fucking
just get rid of the fucking belt. Exactly. Get the Divas as managers, since you don't care about their competent in the ring. You don't care about their matches, and you don't care about them.
But see, that's the thing. WWE doesn't want managers, quote unquote. So half of them you can just fucking fire. The other ones you either send their asses back to FCW or keep them on the roster and find them things to do. And the bitches who want to compete, make them compete and earn the right to get a championship belt back in their fucking division. Because at this point, it makes no sense to have a belt or to push any of the girls and be like, okay, this is your flavor of the month right now, and then this is your flavor of the month next week, and a year after that. It makes no fucking sense, because you have girls there who are capable of putting on good matches. Like, I know you said you don't want to count Eve because she's off doing her own thing, and Alicia Fox is kind of in limbo. But you have those two girls. You have Layla when she comes back, and Tamina. Maxine can fucking work matches. And you have a couple girls down at FCW. You could, if you took the time to actually build something, you could have them build a fucking division.
Well, one thing we need to mention, and yes, we need to because I'm going somewhere with this, was after the match, Khali and Fox and Natalya were dancing up on the ramp, and who else comes out but the original diva, who's still alive and kicking, Mae Young. And she gives Khali a big kiss. And joining us on the line is our own diva, who covers everything in women's wrestling, is the talented and lovely Sierra.
Hello. Yeah, Mae Young. I love Mae Young. And yes, she's alive and kicking and still moving as old as she is. She just amazes me. My question is, now I know why Mark Henry is so pissed off lately. Because Mae Young, every time she comes now, she keeps making out with Khali. Last time I checked, her and Mark Henry were still married.
Oh, jeez. Don't bring that up.
So now I know why he's angry.
You really went there. You really, really went there.
What? I am sympathetic. I feel bad for Mark.
Mark ain't thinking about her old ass.
They're still married. I didn't see nothing about them getting divorced.
I'm sure that was off camera after he found the hand.
And where is the child too? Where is
probably
the kid in
with
all
the
this?
Adams? Probably with the Adams family.
You just took it to another level. But yeah, I was saying earlier about regarding the Divas division. I'm waiting for the day they just ended. Beth Phoenix, it was announced the other day, she has become the longest reigning Divas champion. She beat out Maurice for her. Maurice was the original longest reigning champion. Now Beth Phoenix is the longest reigning Divas champion. And she can't pick up a win or let alone get a match. And, you know, it's sad that the only time I see Divas matches that are worth my time is on NXT or Superstars. You got all these girls there. 2 of them about to be leaving. Apparently, according to the Bella Twins, they are not leaving, but it's a damn lie because their contract expires at the end of this month. And they're going to be gone. Then you have all these girls just hanging around not doing anything. I just think that they need to either just end it or fire all the girls and keep a select few. It's ridiculous right now. It's bad, and it's not a good look for the girls or the company.
Yeah, and you mentioned NXT. I mean, Natalya and Caitlyn and Maxine, they're doing everything over there. So that's to watch. That's what show to watch on current WWE TV, even though it's on the internet, if you want to watch Diva Wrestling.
See, the thing is, they keep hiring girls, and they have things going down in FCW. And they're talking about, like, oh yeah, we have a great Divas division, so we're going to keep bringing in more girls. And what's the fucking point? Because once you bring them up, they're going to get lost in the fucking shuffle.
But see, that's mainly their fault because, you know, I don't have a problem with WWE hiring models. I don't at all. Because how many times have they hired models and they became wrestlers? Trish Stratus, Victoria, Layla, Eve. I mean, the list goes on and on. They've hired so many girls. Maurice, Candice Michelle. I mean, Michelle McCool, Kelly. I mean, the list goes on and on of how many girls they've hired that were models and became wrestlers. I have no problem with that. But my problem is with them, with their hiring process is, you know, they hire the girls based on looks. Everybody does that now. But they hire them because they like how they look, but then when they get there and they see that their ring skills are not progressing, they have no idea what else to do with them because they can't throw them in the ring because they can't throw a hitlock on anybody. Then they bring them up to the roster because they're like, well, they look good. Why not throw them on TV? Then after their 2 weeks of being shown on TV has run its course and they have nothing to do with them, then the girls are just left laying around, not doing anything. I just think, okay, if you're going to hire them on looks, they got to be able to do something in the ring. They got to be able to either to talk or walk a guy out there to the ring and be a valet. If you can't hire them based on those principles, then don't hire them. Because right now, there's a lot of girls in FCW that have the look, or they have the skill, or they have the mic skills. But when you look at them, they don't have all the credentials that they need to be on TV. And I can see right now, because now they're talking about a lot of people are about to be let go from their contracts in the next couple of weeks. A lot of those girls are going to go missing.
Oh, yeah. And my fear, Brittany Knight is down in FCW. I'm terrified for when they bring her up, because they're going to do something fucked up with her. I automatically see it.
Well, that's my thought with any of the girls. I don't care where they came from. The only thing is I'd say about Brittany Knight is same thing with Tenille Taylor, who's injured right now, and she'll be coming in. If they fuck up with them, the only difference with them and the other girls is they can always go somewhere else and work.
True.
Unlike the other girls where they've only been hired by WWE and they've never been nowhere else. Mm-hmm. Brittany can go back to England and wrestle for Ring of Honor or wherever else. Tenille can go back to Canada and wrestle for whoever else. They have stuff that they can fall back on. These other girls don't.
Evilise can go back to Puerto Rico and wrestle. Because she's over there, so... Like, some girls have those opportunities, and then others don't have the option or opportunity to go ahead and do other things. So you feel bad for those ones.
Yeah. I want to ask you guys something. Okay, as I've reported in the Angry Marquez newsfeed, the whole Rosa Mendez and the Epico and Primo thing is a storyline that's being worked on Twitter. What do you guys think of it? Is this going to lead to anything, or is this just them starting a storyline on Twitter and just for nothing.
I hope that it goes somewhere, and I think it will, because, like we mentioned, Yoshitatsu challenged Lord Tensai, saying he's not real Japanese, and that got a match on Raw. If they continue with this, I mean, if you look back at it, The Rock and Cena, when they haven't been seen together, when Rock isn't able to be on Raw, they've been keeping up on Twitter to further their feud, and it was brought up on Raw. So if you have the tag team champions doing this with this storyline that they're mad they're not getting TV time, there's no tag team division, I legit think that WWE is putting something together for that.
Yeah, but my main issue is, like I put in a news feed, Rosaminda, she's been going on this tirade since WrestleMania. I even grouped the quotes together because she just posted so many of them. And I'm thinking on either Raw or something that they're going to mention, Rosaminda is going off on Twitter about, tag team champions or something. And they don't mention it. And it's just like, I hope they're going in some direction, because you've seen tonight where Heath Slater and Tyson Kidd, which, by the way, I hope that does not turn into a team. They're seeming like they're trying to put teams together, but then the next week they don't be together. So I hope they're going in a direction where they're actually going to get something going.
They need to do what they need to do is what they did with Air Boom. We saw when Kofi and Evan were the tag team champions, we saw Primo beat Kofi in a one-on-one match. Epico beat Evan Bourne in a one-on-one match. Primo and Epico defeated Air Boom in tag team matches, and that's really the base of the feud. And it kept going, and eventually Primo and Epico became tag team champions. They need to do this with the Usos and any other tag team that might develop out of this. And I'm not going to put Santino and Funkasaurus in that category yet, because I don't really see that as going anywhere. The only face tag team you've got are the Usos, because Swagger and Ziggler are their own tag team, but they're heels. WWE's, I don't think they're going to do heel versus heel unless there's a face team in there. So what they need to do is have one-on-one matches or tag team matches where they constantly face off each week, and the Usos get the better of them, so that it leads to another tag team title match in the future.
On NXT, which is sad that, they got all these guys that, they really don't know what to do with them, so they've been putting them in tag teams. You got Titus O'Neil and Darren Young, and apparently that's going to be split. And then they got, which I think is the weirdest combo, but I kind of get it. They got Percy Watson and Alex Riley as a face team. I don't get the combo.
I think they put them together because they're both jocks and kind of all-American, so they decided to put the two of them together. I think that's why they're a team. And they work really well together, too.
Yeah, and then they got Kurt Hawkins and Tyler Rex.
I like that team.
I really like that team, and I like everything from the promos, even though I just feel like Kurt Hawkins should be the only one talking. Everything they do is just, I think that they should really invest in those guys. And, I mean, they got so many teams on NXT, and the thing I love about them, like I said, they're just throwing these guys together, because every week it's like there's a new combination of guys, and they all work well together. So for me, it's like, okay, if they really want to do a tag team division, they got a good crop of guys right there they can use. Yeah. But who knows if that's what they're actually going to do.
And if you were going to put the Usos versus Epico, Primo, and Rosa, you have Rosa keep getting involved. Tamina has been, since she's a face again, she's been kind of aligning herself with the Usos. You can do something with that and have a storyline feud that keeps going and keeps going. Because both teams are generational teams, too. So you can play up that aspect as well.
Right, which is how they debuted the Usos and Tamina in the first place. So if they hooked them up back together, that would be cool. And that would be a nice little storyline to continue or to start, because if we look at it, WWE does have a small tag team division. You have the champions, of course. You have the Usos. Sometimes Kofi and R-Truth tag up together. Kurt Hawkins and Tyler Rex. There's a 4-way tag team title match right there.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you know, they don't have to have, you know, a big lengthy tag team division. I mean, they can just have 2 fucking teams. Just throw them in the ring together. That's enough to get people invested in wanting to see the tag team division like they used to do years ago in the territories. The territories, they would have like 1 tag team for territory. And they'll go, okay, this guy's not doing anything, and nor is this guy. Let's make them a team. That's how we got so many guys thrown together as teams that work. And then they would just go out there every night having a match. Next thing you know, they will bring more guys in, like the Road Warriors, the Rockers, all that, you know, Express, and, you know, that's how it started. It's just that I don't know if WWE is even focused on this. That's why I say the whole thing with Rosa Mendes, I like the intrigue of it, but it's kind of scaring me. If they're not interested, why even go forth with this? Because it's going to fall flat if they're not interested.
Yeah, and also I heard that they're going to start doing that with wrestlers all across the spectrum where they're complaining about not being used, and use that for a future storyline against John Laurinaitis or something. I don't know how much validity that actually does have, but it could be an intriguing thing if they do play it up the right way.
Well, it only remains to be seen what they're really going to do. Hell, you can even throw Hunico and Camacho in there if Camacho finally gets in the ring.
Who?
And Hunico actually gets a match on SmackDown with Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
I knew this.
The number that was picked for me in the Royal Rumble, and he came out with it. Still hold a grudge over that. But anyways,
don't you feel lucky?
Great. This wasn't even a match, okay? Hunico leaves the ring to I don't know, get advice or whatever from Camacho, and then Duggan calls out Sergeant Slaughter, tosses Duggan the 2x4, and he hits Hunico with it, getting himself disqualified. What? Really? That's it?
What I thought was funny was Sarge held that pose, getting ready to throw it in there for like a good 30 seconds. And he's like, Jim.
Anytime now.
Well, you know they're getting old.
And then he finally turns around. He's like, "Oh, I was supposed to grab that, wasn't I?" Really?
Well, you know they're up there in age. I mean, it took Sergeant Slaughter 10 minutes to walk down there. Come on.
Well,
I'm really surprised that it ended in
together.
I'm really surprised this match ended in disqualification, to be honest with you.
Well, that's, you know, how Hacksaw Jim Duggan matches used to end years ago. He hit somebody with 2x4, ho, and a DQ.
But people still loved him.
Yeah, I don't get it. You just don't like none of the oldies. What is wrong with you?
Well, I do like Dusty Rhodes, and he came out to interrupt his son Cody Rhodes' promo because Cody was still crying that he lost the title, which obviously this feud is continuing. But Cody says, "What are we calling this? A blast from the past? I think it's a waste of our collective time. Why don't we turn to the future where I am once again the Intercontinental Champion?" So Dusty comes out and reminds Cody that he's a talented athlete, but Cody just stops him and says, "Dad, you're embarrassing me."
You know
Cue
what?
the Big Show.
How come we never get to see Goldust?
I know. There's
only
always
time-
family interactions, and it's like, well, you're the half brother, so you don't fucking count.
Right. The only time we saw Goldust was he was in his suit and in a 3-piece suit on Raw, pulling apart John Cena and Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
And I was actually waiting for Goldust to pop up, whether in Goldust gear or as Dustin. I was just waiting for him to pop up.
I prefer the makeup and the whole wig.
Yeah, he was Dustin last night, holding back Brock Lesnar.
I mean, because then when he says, your embarrassment, then everybody be like, well, look at him.
Your brother.
Look at him.
Yeah, that would have been perfect for Goldust to be out there in full gear because he's a blast from the past, and Cody looks at him as an embarrassment.
And you would have thought, because Dusty stopped on the top of the ramp for like a good minute and a half, so I was waiting for Goldust to come out there too. I was like,
yeah,
because he just stood there, like confused, like, why am I out here?
Well, this was the cue for Big Show to come out and show more clips, but not from him knocking Cody Rhodes out, because we've seen that over and over. When there are definitely more embarrassing moments, like when he stuck his ass in Cody's face, but somehow they're not going to show that. But instead, we get a clip from last year when Cody was dashing, putting on lip gloss ever so slowly and sensually. I can't believe they brought that up.
I've been saying for the past couple weeks with Big Show showing that same clip, Cody's had more embarrassing moments, especially at WrestleMania. What was it, a year or two ago? He got beat by Randy Orton. Didn't Rey Mysterio beat him last year or something? Or the time Rey Mysterio broke his face? And
yep.
He's had some more moments.
Well, at least they didn't bring up the part when Cody was shaving his legs on national television.
See, that's embarrassing.
Next. That will be next.
See, and I thought that was the one they were going for. I was like, why should they do that bullshit when he was fucking shaving his legs or some bullshit?
If they bring back his lip gloss segment from his Dashing Cody Rhodes days, expect to see all the other ones where he's plucking his nose hairs and waxing his eyebrows, shaving his legs, cleaning his ears, whatever the hell he was doing back then.
It's really disturbing. It's disturbing for me because as a female, it's like, okay, I like a kept man, a guy that keeps himself up, but I don't want to see that you actually paint your nails clear so they have a little glisten to them. I don't want to know these things. Like, I want to be able to see you and be like, oh my god, I wonder how he looks. What does he do? I don't want to know. So it's like disturbing.
I'm gonna say my only favorite part of that dashing gimmick was when he came out and looked at himself in the digital mirror on the stage.
Yeah, I wish they had kept that, but
The funny thing is, though, he said that he got all those tips that he did in those segments from Randy Orton.
Something.
So
no.
So yeah, your side piece got his information from your other side piece.
Well, I'm just saying, there's just some things I didn't want to know. And, the segment where he was shaving his legs, I was just like, oh god. I wonder if he's using the Venus or the Gillette.
Oh god. Moving on from there, we had the tag team main event of Daniel Bryan and Alberto Del Rio versus Mean Gene Okerlund and the World Heavyweight Champion Sheamus. And this match started about 7 minutes before the end of the show. So obviously this wasn't going to last long, and it didn't. Because it was your typical Sheamus takes the heat for both heels, and then he gets kicked out of the ring. So then, let me get this right. Del Rio and Bryan bully Mean Gene into the ring. They corner him, surround him. Ricardo Rodriguez also gets in. And then out come all the legends that were there tonight. Well, probably except for Cowboy Bob Orton, who's still knocked out, most likely.
Oh, he's knocked the fuck out.
Yeah.
But Roddy Piper gets on the apron, and Daniel Bryan gets in his face, obviously from what happened earlier. And I didn't really notice it earlier tonight, but thinking back, I notice it now because that Daniel Bryan had slapped him in the face earlier in the night. But Daniel Bryan turns around into the bro kick, and Sheamus and Gene Okerlund win.
So
thoughts on the match?
So basically, the only way Sheamus is winning now is if somebody's distracted and he hits the bro kick.
I guess. I mean, he's done that 3 times now since WrestleMania.
This is horrible. And you know what?
He's getting booed.
And yeah, that's the bad thing. The bad thing is I feel bad for Sheamus because, it's bad enough that this happened at WrestleMania. And I would have been happy if they left this as a WrestleMania moment. But now this is becoming an all-the-time thing. And the crowd just shits on it. The crowd the past couple of weeks have been terrible. It's just... I don't want this for Sheamus. And he's supposed to be, they put him over on commentary. He's so big and bad. And, when he came in, he was beating the hell out of people. Now he's just kicking people in the face in 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I mean, let me correct myself. He's done it 4 times since WrestleMania. I mean, he did it to Daniel Bryan twice, a referee last week on SmackDown. And, I mean, tell me this isn't the gimmick they're doing for him. Please, someone tell me this.
Are they... Is it funny that this seems like it's leading to where they're going to ban the bro kick?
Yeah. I was just thinking that they're either going to ban it or they'll probably end up banning it. I mean, I get that they're trying to put the move over as being really devastating and whatnot, but it's kind of one of those too much, too fast kind of things.
I don't know. Maybe they're going to do that way, the way they did with banning the spear from Edge. But I don't know. It seems like, now that I think about it, it seems like they could go that route because of Johnny Laryngitis and how he was yelling at Sheamus earlier tonight, which now Sheamus is on quote-unquote probation. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Was I the only one who noticed that Alberto Del Rio just straight up, when the Legends came out, he dipset and ran through the crowd?
Oh, he knows. He knows.
He's like, fuck this.
Let me get the hell out of Dodge. That's what he said.
Well, after the match, all of the Legends got in the ring, surrounded Ricardo Rodriguez, and just basically beat the crap out of him. Michael Cole, for whatever reason, first he says on commentary that these guys have a curfew, they have to get back to the old folks' home. Then he gets on the microphone, gets in the ring, and tells them into their faces that they have a curfew to get back to the retirement home. Someone told him. I bet you he was on when he said that on commentary. Vince probably told him, "Damn it, do that in the ring. That was gold. Now tell them to their faces."
And the whole time, Jimmy Hart is just sitting there screaming on the goddamn megaphone.
But that's Jimmy Hart.
I know.
I expected Booker T to get in the ring and celebrate with them.
Oh, no, he doesn't. No, he's not a part of that clique.
He doesn't fit. He wasn't WWF in the 80s.
He's not a part of that clique. No.
He just gets several seats in the corner.
Yeah, we didn't need the spinner Rooney or the scissor kick, no.
I mean, he was already... Go ahead.
I was saying, Pat Patterson just cold-cocked Cole in the mouth, and that's how SmackDown went to a close. And a complete thumbs down for me. And the only thing that I liked was the Piper's Pit, and it furthered the storyline, and it announced a new match for the Extreme Rules pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I just have, I get your gripe on the legends being on the show, Nick, but my main issue is, okay, I get it, Dusty Rhodes, Pat Patterson, and a couple of the guys work backstage in WWE, but there is so many guys that work there that we hardly see with these Legends things. We hardly see Arn Anderson. Ricky Steamboat. I don't consider Dean Malenko one. He's not a part of that clique. He's like with Booker. He's not a part of that.
I get it, but at the same time, let him pop up on TV every now and then.
No.
Goldust.
Did you just know me?
Yes. And Ricky Steamboat, Michael Hayes. I mean, you have so many guys that work back there, and even in FCW. I mean, how come we never see any of these other guys? Like on Raw, we, for some reason, it's bad when I can spot people out, pulling people apart, and go, oh my god, that's Jamie Noble. Oh my god, that's Billy Kidman. If I can spot these people out, I even swore to God I see Norman Smiley. Where is these people? Where is these people for the flashback shows? Like, what is going on?
See, and as much as I hate Norman Smiley doing the fucking wiggle or whatever the fuck he likes to call that shit, I would have rather seen that than heard Tony Atlas fucking laugh.
That's the only purpose he was there for, to laugh.
And I don't want to hear, no. I'm not watching goddamn Looney Tunes.
Poor Tony.
Well, like I said, it was a blast from the past SmackDown. It served its purpose for that gimmick, I guess, but it just didn't fit here. It didn't... I don't know. Maybe if it was the night after WrestleMania or the week after WrestleMania, I'd be fine, but it just seems like we're supposed to be on the way to Extreme Rules, and it just... I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I mean, I could be the only one. I don't care. I did not like... I just didn't like the whole episode. Even if it wasn't with the Legends, if you look at it, the whole Heath Slater and Tyson Kidd thing, I didn't care about. I'm happy the Usos won. I'm fine with that. I'm happy with Randy Orton and Kane continuing their feud. The Ryback squash, whatever, it fit its place. I don't really care for that. Drew McIntyre, the Bella Twins, and Great Khali, if it was just that match as it was, I would still shit on it. Unico, that match was just complete crap, and the main event was so short, it's passable. It was just a shit show, save for the Piper's Pit.
Well, actually, 2 days in a row, we've been getting shit. Raw was terrible. SmackDown was just as bad. I think that when they do these flashback shows, I know it's for nostalgia, but I think they should do it before WrestleMania. Like, I just feel maybe they should do it before WrestleMania next year and bring all the guys that they're putting in the Hall of Fame on the show and, present them to the fans like, so-and-so's going to Hall of Fame. Like, I think that...
Do a Hall of Fame show.
Or something.
Go over so much better.
I mean, they could still contribute and hype up storylines as happened at WrestleMania, but I just think that maybe if they do it before Mania, it'd be better, because after Mania, they're going to focus on what happened at Mania for the next couple weeks. I just think that they need to figure out what they're doing with this, and I'm tired of seeing the same people. I'm telling you right now, if I see Pat Patterson or Dusty Rhodes one more time on one of these flashback shows, I'm going to have a freaking moment. I just can't take it.
If I have to see Hacksaw Jim Duggan in another match, I'm going to shoot myself.
I like Jim Duggan.
Not
I
these days,
saw
though.
Jim Duggan, but put on a goddamn t-shirt and some fucking pants.
Are you guys serious?
I know he's been wrestling like that for the past 70 fucking years, but come the fuck on.
Are you serious? Jim Duggan has looked the way Jim Duggan looks now. He's looked like that when he first started. The same shorts.
I know.
The same
I know
boots.
he
The
looked like
same
that
hair.
since time, but
the same flab. Everything.
Not to mention the same flab.
I mean, he looked like that since time, but even Piper knows, put on a goddamn shirt. They don't want to see my fucking flab.
I mean, look over in freaking TNA. Ric Flair, he's been looking the same since the 70s. Same flab, the same ring gear, the same freaking hairdo, and he will not pick up a weight and lift it. It's just sometimes these older guys just feel like, I've been wrestling for 45,000 years. Why do I even look like the new guys?
And Hacksaw was the only legend to have a match tonight, so what does that tell you?
Well, you know what I have an issue with? How come we can never get... I love Mick Foley and everything, but how come we can never get somebody else, that's in the Hall of Fame, a Terry Funk, a Dory Funk,
Sierra.
What?
You're asking too much.
I mean, why can't we get somebody different? I mean...
I get that, but...
I mean, Kevin Von Erich is still walking around, and I mean, we can't get a Wendy Richter or, a Sunny or something. We can't get somebody different.
I totally agree, but when you said Terry Funk...
What is wrong with Terry?
Do you really think WWE is going to run the risk of putting Terry Funk's crazy ass on national television?
What is wrong with Terry Funk? He's 900 years old, and he still wrestles, and he moves like he's 24. Is something wrong with that?
Hey, you know that Terry Funk is fucking crazy.
Well, we got enough crazy people in there, so might as well. Poor Terry Funk.
And before we
Terry Funk though,
before we end this show, Sierra, let me just tell you, I don't appreciate you getting mad at me for not knowing that was Hillbilly Jim. I'm sorry, I do not know what the guy looks like these days. He was not wearing his suspenders.
How did you not know that was Hillbilly Jim?
Well, the freaking camera was moving too fast for me to even get a lock on what these guys, who was staring at the match.
It was not just you I got on in the chat room. It was everybody else, too. And I was like, you know what? You guys need to watch wrestling more.
Well, I never really watched any Hillbilly Jim matches. The only one I've seen was when he took on Hunter Hearst Helmsley in the Hog Pen match.
Oh, God.
Which was on Triple H's DVD, by the way.
Well, it should be. It's part of his career, but yeah, I had to get on you because I was just like, oh my God, they don't know who Hillbilly Jim is.
No, I know who he is, just not what he looks like when he's not in his suspenders and has a big beard going down to match his chest hair.
He still has the beard and everything. He looks the freaking same. That's the crazy thing.
Booker knew who it was. Michael Cole even asked, how do you know that's Hillbilly Jim? I mean, the guy was wearing glasses and had his hair slicked back in a ponytail.
That's how he looks outside the ring.
I've never seen him outside the ring. Which is my point.
Well,
which is my point.
Hillbilly Jim hasn't wrestled in like 20 years, so the only way that you've actually seen him, if you've seen any of his pictures, is with the neat straight hair all pulled back into a nice ponytail, the trimmed down beard, usually wearing a pair of sunglasses, and usually wearing something that looks halfway decent. Not the overalls. It's not like it's not like he shows up in the Sirius XM satellite offices every week, dressing like he just stepped out of Appalachia.
I'm just saying. Come on now. I knew who he was. Something's wrong here. I'm just saying. But
I think that's going to do it for this week's SmackDown Rundown. Sierra, you have any last words?
Yeah. One thing about Hillbilly Jim. As I mentioned in the chat earlier, if you guys don't know, Hillbilly Jim and Coco Beware have a band. And they
I don't know why.
And apparently there's more other workers in the band. I don't know who all. And apparently when they perform, they dress in their gimmicks.
Coco Beware should not do anything besides stay out of my damn lane.
So apparently the only way Nick will recognize him is if he's in his overalls. Well, check for a live performance. He dresses in his overalls and everything.
Nah, I'm gonna pass.
I'm not gonna go out. I'm not gonna go around looking for Hillbilly Jim to find out what he looks like now. So.
I'm just saying. But other than that, apparently I'm putting up another news feed for this week because the one I put up the other day was super long. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate it as always, long or short.
Women's wrestling is stressful.
Women's wrestling is almost non-existent in the States.
What the hell are you trying to say? There's Shimmer, there's all kinds of places. There is a freaking women's wrestling promotion in every state, believe it or not. Isn't that crazy?
Well, it's non-existent on television.
Well, that's not our fault. That's their fault.
Yeah, I'll talk to Sierra and she'll be like, oh my god, I fucking hate women's wrestling. There's so much shit.
You guys have no idea. I seriously cut a rant on women's wrestling the other day. It's like, I hate you.
I don't blame you.
They just made me so mad with the news. I'm like, what the hell?
Well, I'm sure we can expect to hear you and Frank Vaughn on a new episode of Ring the Bell next week.
Yeah, hopefully we don't piss anybody off. I wasn't aiming for that tonight.
It's alright. They'll get the hell over it. They always
well,
do.
you know, it serves its purpose. It makes everybody angry marks. So, yeah. King J, you have any last words for the evening?
No. It was a good show tonight.
I enjoyed Ring the Bell, what I did get to listen to. And no. I just gotta go do a damn presentation for class tomorrow.
Alright. And shout out to our producer Killer Kev joining us with some of his comments and keeping the show going smoothly as he does each and every week, as well as holding down all the other podcasts here on the Angry Marks Network, whether it's the Raw Reaction on Mondays, Ring the Bell on Tuesdays, Glove Up or Shut Up Wednesdays, Thursday Night AMP on Thursdays. And that's going to do it for this week's edition of Tuesday's episode of SmackDown Rundown. You can catch us every Friday night here on the Angry Marks Podcast Network at 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern. That's going to do it for our guest Sierra, my co-host King J, and our producer Killer Kev. I am Nikolai telling you we'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.